All right, so I'm wondering, what's up, Darren? What's going on, man? I'm wondering if the Lions can make a run like they did in 2015. What's up, Lions Mania? What's up, Nick? So I saw a article from M Live today. We're going to talk about that a little later. But the NFC, right, is so wide open. Now we got plenty of time to talk about the draft. And Darren, I hear your concerns about the quarterback, man, and I actually agree with some of them. I really do. I'm looking at the how Justin Fields can make an impact. A quarterback who can step out and get out of harm's way. If we can get a quarterback that throws, that's a good thrower as well. Then that's a 1-2 punch. Watched some highlights, something about Patrick Mahomes and how they didn't think he was. Excuse me, they were going to be that he was going to be as good as he was coming out of college. But the Kansas City Chiefs, I think the GM at the time was like, this guy's going to be the real deal. So I can see your. I don't know what's going on with my voice today, but I can see your argument when it comes to a dual threat quarterback. And this might be the time that the Lions take one. We don't know. We and that's the thing, we don't know. But what I do know is that the season is still going on. And I've been thinking about this with every loss that passes. Can the Detroit Lions make a run? Can they make a run? It seems like we're almost there, unless it's the Patriots. Then we get blown out, we get a goose egg, right? But the other games, we were in. I mean, if you even look at the Cowboys game, if you look at the Cowboys game this past Sunday, we were in that game. The game was even across the board, even after Jared Goff's fumbles. I mean, the only thing that really lost us that game was the turnovers. From Jamal Williams to Jared Goff and more Jared Goff and more Jared Goff and poor Jared Goff, because Jared Goff is going to be the sewer, the dumping ground of this city until we get somebody else to dump on. That's just how that's going to be. It was Matthew Stafford before him. It's him now, and it's going to be quarterback of the future when quarterback of the future gets here. I have never seen a more wishy-washy fan base, bro. I just haven't. But can the Detroit Lions go on a run? The Detroit Lions are 1-5. They got 11 games left, and the NFC is wide open. Now, I'm going to compare this team, although it's not the same team. This team that I'm going to compare it to is right after that 2014 team that we all know should have won a playoff game, but thank you, Dallas, right? Jim Caldwell started 1-7, okay, in 2015. And I remember this thing like it was yesterday. My son was 5 years old at the time, and he was sitting watching football with me, asking a bunch of questions. You know how kids right around kindergarten age do. They ask a ton of questions. And we had a much more talented roster, in my opinion, as far as when it came to defense. All right. But the Detroit Lions started the season 1-7. Okay. We started one. Listen to this. And this is why I have to live in the season, y'all. I have to live in the moment. I don't want to go too far ahead of the season, because even like the news reporters, the guys that cover the team, they don't even want to go talk about the draft just yet, right? I mean, we still have 7 months before we hear our beloved draft jingle. And right now, we're trending first pick. But in 2015, the Detroit Lions started 1-7. Their first win came in week 6 against the Chicago Bears. And it wasn't just any win, gentlemen and ladies. It was an overtime 3-point win at Ford Field. They started the season. They lost to the Chargers, the Vikings, the Broncos, the Seattle Seahawks, and the Arizona Cardinals, with their first win coming in week 6 against the Chicago Bears. They then lose to the Minnesota Vikings, so they got swept by the Vikings, and they lost to the Kansas City Chiefs in a blowout loss in London. That was the last time the Lions went to London. Now, 1-7 heading into the bye. That's when the NFL used to be nice to us, and they used to give us mid-season byes. They regrouped, right? And if you look at Kyle, I think it's Kyle Minke. We're going to refer to his article today. He talks about he was there. He was in the locker room after that loss. And Jim Caldwell's job kept coming up, and the players wanted to play for this man. And what I like that they said, because listen, As much as y'all love Dan Campbell, Motor City Dan Campbell, MCDC, it does not matter if he doesn't win. No. Does he play the game? No. Does he make coaching mistakes? Yes. That was the only knock that I heard on Jim Caldwell was he's a bad game manager. Well, you ain't seen a bad game manager yet. But listen, Dan Campbell didn't make bad coaching decisions last game. It wasn't really on him. Matter of fact, I'm not going to put any of it on him. Not trying to score before the half ended, right? But at the end of the day, that man is going to pay the price for what happens on the field, right? They come out of the bye, and this is how they finish the season. The Green Bay Packers, they win in Lambeau. Squeak Fest by 2. They beat the Oakland Raiders. At home, they beat the Philadelphia Eagles. Then they lose to the Green Bay Packers and the St. Louis Rams at the time. They finished the season on a 3-game winning streak to go to 7-9 on the season. Right? So my thing is, can the Detroit Lions make a run to end the year? Some games were almost there, and some games it looks like we don't get off the plane. And that's a really good question. Now, I'm not ready to say it's over just yet because I don't want to do that. I'm sick of it. I talk about this team every day. I don't want to keep talking about the draft and the offseason and all that stuff. All right? The Detroit Lions, very similar to last year. They started off rough. They're looking at 1-6 right now, possibly 1-7. Although I think they can beat the Green Bay Packers. All right? At that point, in 2 games, the Detroit Lions could be just where they were, 1-7. And this is where it can change. It could. Maybe it can, maybe it can't. Chicago, the Giants, the Buffalo Bills, the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Minnesota Vikings, the Jets, the Panthers, the Chicago Bears, and the Green Bay Packers on the road. Out of those games, they have the next 2 at home, or after the next 2. They've got the Bills, the Jaguars, and the Minnesota Vikings. The first time we've had 3 home games in a row in a very long time. MetLife Stadium, they play the New York Jets. They go play Carolina. Everyone says we can beat that team. However, that team just beat Tom Brady. But look what happened last night. Nobody picked the Bears to win that game. So my question is, could the Detroit Lions make a run very similar to 2015? Everybody thought that season was over. And then we wound up a respectable 7 wins, right? And let's be honest, 7 wins at this point is respectable. 100%. 7 wins is respectable. 100%. So do you guys think it's possible we can make a run very similar to 2015, I'm sorry.